If you failed the Amex test, you don't just have your head up your ass. You and your friends are all in on it. Multiple demands for the records were made. And now you know there's multiple reasons why they didn't want to return the records. The same goes with the records for Supreme Turf. Everything's withheld by Mike KIELTY. Surveillance shows not only did he approve the amount as requested by his accountant A.GROSHANCE, but also it shows in the same document at least 90 days to pay.
Now doesn't work for Jay anymore. I'm gonna burn this motherfucker's ass.
Okay, that is a all operating. Andrew Groschenheim and myself are the only two authorized signers on it.
Who's Andrew?
Now, nobody voted for this.
He's an accountant.
Would you please?
Is he an accountant?
No, he's an accounting major. He does our accounting for us, which is one of the most important things you can have when going into bankruptcies.
I don't think I could say it any better. No, he is not the accountant. No, he is not the accountant. No, he is not the accountant. No, he is not the accountant.
Oh, you motherfucker. Jesus Christ.
That's from September 27th. Now the takeover was September 1st.
His accountant now doesn't work for Jay anymore.
I'm gonna burn this motherfucker's ass.
KIELTY testified he hired an accountant on September 1st. Must be a different accountant, because Andrew Groschenheim is not the accountant on the 27th at a meeting deemed as a corporate meeting by Andrew Hoganson, or called as such, and to such, witnessed by other counsel being Zach Abeleys. And the question was proposed, asked, and answered by both parties. No, he is not the accountant.
You give me time. You want to see a devious motherfucker that's connected? You want to see what I can do to a man? You just don't kill him yet. You will see what the apparatus that I can put into place to fuck this guy.
Guess who I think it is?
Andy?
Gershman's buddy?
He is. He's my accounting guy, but he won't do anything with Jay. He's Gershman's friend.
Jay's old accountant is who his accountant is now.
He won't do it with Jay. Jay's a fucking thief.
Jay's a fucking thief on September 30th, a month after I sent out the entire balance sheet of who owes what to everybody with no response. Not even at the September 27th meeting was there a response. Because I didn't owe anybody. But I'm a thief. It's no different for Nick Jakich. Andrew Groschenheim has never met Nick Jakich. He has never talked to the man.
Okay? Because on our books that Andy's doing for the course, everything's real time.
Mike doesn't want me writing money, but we have to keep people happy.
How much we take in the last 2 days, cash?
Well, but
What did you record?
I can't remember, but the thing is he has an EMX. He wants to pay or something.
So have you talked to Jay lately? I'm like, no, I haven't, because whenever Jay's up to something scandalous, he never talks to me. Because he knows my moral character of being, like, Jay, because he can sell anyone. When it comes to me, I'm like, Jay, you're not bullshit, man. It's right there, I mean, come on. You're not bullshit. Yeah, you can make all your fucking stories about life's like this, life's like that. It's still the same. You're not bullshitting. So he just doesn't even talk to me. I mean, this golf story is so fucking complicated that you have no idea. Me, CPA, and the lawyers sitting around and every one of them were never seen anything like this. Never, ever seen something so messy, so fucked up, so many lawsuits.
Why don't you just buy him out?
Because Jay is under the assumption that he's going to sell this course in a month or two.
What?
Yeah, Mike's like, he's fucking crazy. We've talked to every fucking... And he's like, he's fucking crazy, He thinks we're selling it.
So I think Jay just get a buyout for KIELTY and just be gone.
Because Jay thinks he's going to sell this for $500 million.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, I know. He's so, pretty soon, he's going to realize fearing a little bit that, you know, it's not going to be sold anytime quick, you know. You can't sell the golf course as is because the company has no financial statements for the last 2 years.
What, was she a cool person? Rosie?
Everyone says she's a bitch.
Have you had an opportunity to review this affidavit prior to today?
Yes, I have.
Objection, Your Honor, this is hearsay. Mr. Shields would affidavit.
Response?
Was this an affidavit that was provided by Mr. Shields to you to verify the debt owed to Supreme Turf Products, Inc.?
Yes, it was.
And you had verified that debt prior to receiving this affidavit?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I do not object. Mr. Shields is not here.
I would object to Mr. Smith's objections. I don't know that he has a creditor in this case.
Who do you represent?
I represent Mr. Dunlap. He owns 1/3 of the golf course.
Okay. Objection sustained.
1. The debt became engineered for the involuntary bankruptcy. Proof. FNB bank account. Check balance per day compared to check written and a handwritten ledger would give you the actual daily balance. There's only $6,000 in the account. KIELTY never stocked up funds. He never stocked up funds the month before as he testified in court. He never stocked up funds in September. 2. KIELTY paid out a second deposit with Don Sampson to force down the bank account balance on 9/19. Don Sampson, already engaged by Mike KIELTY on 9/15, took a second large deposit on 9/19. These funds could have been used to pay Supreme Turf Products. Don Sampson should know this going over the books and records, but instead takes the money and puts it in escrow, withholding it from the corporation that he's filing into bankruptcy with individuals that don't even belong to the corporation.
That's it. That's
Now,
it.
does your dad still have any kind of control?
Because he's president. I'm not preaching at you. I'm fucking just giving you a strategy. What you have to do is you say, Dad, if you really trust this guy, don't tell him. Let me talk to him. Let me figure it out. You retain the presidency of that corporation because you're in control. Because if you don't talk your dad into doing the bankruptcy, to proceed with the voluntary bankruptcy,
and the funds coming from a bank account fraudulently set up with the corporation's name and Mike KIELTY's personal tax ID number, his personal social security number. 3. Mike KIELTY never provided either a corporate EIN or a corporate resolution for Golf 255 Inc. As of September 22nd, none of this information had been disclosed to his so-called Golf 255 accountant. No corporate authorization for an accountant and no corporate accountant in existence. 4. Dunlap's credit provided substantially more credit than necessary for a year's supplies. 5. Mike KIELTY informed Lance Jakich on September 30th that all the bills were paid.
I figured I got to get some internal controls in here because I want to keep this a course. I'd love to have run this as a course. This is a cash cow.
Oh, I know that.
Okay, and run properly.
Golf course won't take care of it.
If you look out there, it's the money. Since I got back into it, I'm the one that paid off all the bills, gives them all the money because that course is what's going to bring the people.
6. Dunlap was informed all the bills were being paid real time September 27th. 7. All communications, documents, and billings were exclusive to Mike KIELTY and Andrew GROSHANCE, who were in an active bankruptcy scam according to surveillance screens and phone calls. 8. Andrew GROSHANCE used multiple false stories, such as claiming he worked for and was contacting vendors for bankruptcy under the order and direction of J. Dunlap. 9. Mike KIELTY had ample room to put on his American Express if he really used it for business. KIELTY spent more on vodka, dinners at Palomano's, and all-night parties with Mike Weller at the Ritz-Carlton than the total sum of the seed. 10. The Shield affidavit is clearly altered and fraudulent. Why a grown man has to leave an intentional blank spot for someone else to write in the fraud is unacceptable. The statement in itself is in conflict with the billing invoices. The account was never 30 days prior to filing. When David Shields contacted J. Dunlap by cell phone, he was assured he would be paid in full. After being assured to be paid in full, he then refused the same payment he was calling about. When asked why he wouldn't accept payment, he replied, "Laura Grandy's office told me not to." 11. The entire LLC and operating company of Arlington Golf Course, LLC is provided for investment opportunity. Employees, taxes, insurance, other financial investments were always kept separate from Golf 255 Inc. The blending of companies and the disappearance of others is from Carol A. Doyle and Andrew Hoganson correlating a fraudulent forced bankruptcy. 12. Andrew Groshance is the author of the expense log documented in the September surveillance. Andrew Groshance is fully aware of the arrangement by Supreme Turf to have an operating window of payment being at least 90 days. For Terry Trader, make sure to see the Balboa capital scam in 2003 with the golf carts. These same carts will come into play here in just a moment. This is the only bill I've ever received from Terry Trader, also known as TNT. And he added my name as I stood before him in the parking lot. Somewhere along the line, he had a meeting with Mike KIELTY about taking a bunch of carts on a bad contract deal. When I arrived, seeing carts being loaded up, I stopped the whole deal. I could see by the numbers that it was unacceptable. A mere few $100s per cart. I canceled the exchange. I agreed to a limited number of the rentals that he'd brought. Terry Trader never billed J. Dunlap. Only made deals with Mike KIELTY. Is involved in a Balboa capital scam with the golf carts, where he stole $22,838 from Nick Jakich and or Golf 255 Inc. Myron Thompson needs to be accountable for his accounting. He testified to doing the 2003 corporation tax work. Nobody will question him about the fake W-2s used for Nick's mortgage fraud. So I had Nick make an appointment, and we hit him with this affidavit. Myron Thompson says the fake W-2 is not his, and Nick demanded he produce what should be the true 2003 W-2s and paperwork. It's been 10 years, and Myron Thompson never produced anything. Myron Thompson needs to be held accountable for his tax paperwork. Myron Thompson also needs to be questioned with his involvement with the Honchek loan. You can see here he's listed as the agent for BOE and Associates. BOE is the markings on the 2002 paperwork for the golf course loans. You can see the involuntary dissolution date 1 day before John Honchek signed his life away. Summary of claims in 10 words or less. Claim 1, the Amex. Engineered for the involuntary bankruptcy. It's due a credit of over $6,000. Number 2, Supreme Turf Products. It was never late originally. How does this make any sense? The seed is delivered on September 15th. Yes, there were adjustments made because of a repossession of seed, as it was termed, at the actions of David Shields. David Shields had never contacted J. Dunlap prior to repossessing seed from Mike KIELTY. When David Shields did contact J. Dunlap, he was assured he would be paid in full. The first invoice David Shields provides, as you can see by the facts from Supreme Turf, is November 16th. The involuntary bankruptcy was filed October 12th. There was never even a bill served to the golf course to be paid.
Since I got back into it, I'm the one that paid off all the bills, gives them all the money, because that course is what's going to bring the people.
Do you realize that the goddamn seed got repossessed out there last week? The seed from Supreme Turf. Do you know how disgusting that is for a fucking superintendent to have that happen to him?
Then when the bill is served, it is Range Holdings. Range Holdings. Also, the author and the receiver of the email shows that it has clear knowledge of 90 days. Number 3, TNT, and number 4, Myron Thompson, are both participants in loan fraud against Nick Jakich and Golf 255 Inc. The flow of claims illustrates the simplicity and chaos. Terry Trader and Myron Thompson were already in play for the fake bankruptcy they were trying to trick Nick into. How do they do it? The Who map clearly shows how absolutely nobody is working with Nick Jakich on either one of the 2 bankruptcies that they have constructed for him. No document is ever requested from Nick Jakich. No discovery is ever completed for Nick Jakich. All documents are always withheld from Nick Jakich. For quick reference, the map of claims illustrates how Mike KIELTY was able to prepare the 4 claims. Audio surveillance from the golf course shows A.GROSHANCE was actually receiving information that he was unaware of from Don Samson. The next question is, where would Don Samson be getting corporate information from prior to Mike KIELTY? Can I pick both? TNT and Myron Thompson were already tagged and entered into Don Samson's system. Don Samson tried to help Mike KIELTY create Supreme Turf by putting the funds in his escrow account without corporate resolution or consultation. Remember, Don Samson has been the gatekeeper for this master plan since 2004. See the multiple bank internal memos. According to recovered internal bank memos, this federal regional trustee is selected by the Bank of Edwardsville right after stealing John Honchek's store with that fake $1.5 million interest-only loan. 03-02-04. John Honchek is robbed $1.5 million. Investment. 6 months later, the Bank of Edwardsville is pushing receivership of the investment John Honchek made. Don Samson lost appointment of the receiver in the state dissolution case on August 30th, 2005. Receivership was ordered through Nick Jakich's corporate attorney, John McCracken.
You spent $13,000 for some attorney to stroke you for something that I knew the corporation's attorney and everybody who knows anything about law knows was never going to be one because there is a Trump statute in Illinois. It's not like any other state. It's different, okay?
On September 15, 2006, Mike KIELTY dismissed John McCracken, saying he is president of Golf 255 Inc. Signed here. At the same exact time, he is at Don Samson's office preparing a full bankruptcy without telling anybody. Federal regional trustees know you have to have a corporate resolution to represent a corporation in federal court. Don Samson is a federal regional trustee that does not. While Mike KIELTY is faxing over a corporate resolution to dismiss John McCracken, Don Samson takes payment from Mike KIELTY and declares himself to be the corporation's attorney. So on September 15th, Mike KIELTY dismisses Nick Jakich's corporate attorney, stating he is president of Nick Jakich's company. The exact same time, federal regional trustee Don Samson declares himself to be the corporation's bankruptcy attorney. Having spent 1.2 billion hours in the same room, you think these two minds could put a fake president together with a fake corporate bankruptcy attorney by making a fake written statement together. Somehow this statement must have been overlooked, having spent so much time preparing 25 pages of faults, debts, and vendors. See the 1010 schedules. The law states you have to have a corporate resolution, and Don Samson formally requests one 1 week after declaring his new position as corporate counsel. See 922 email. Been done?
Pretty good. Busy.
Come on, I hear you do all the bankruptcies in the county.
I do a lot of them.
We hear that.
I get a lot of them. Is it pink?
John Deere on?
So I do. Okay, now.
I represent Golf 255A.
October 27, 2006. Federal Regional Trustee, Gatekeeper, Don Sampson, threshold of being a conspirator. Understand, these are real people of federal authority colluding in an active conspiracy. Proof. These are factual actions in collusion with the master plan that would not be used in the normal order of daily business.
I represent Golf 255A.
Fact 1. Don Sampson clearly notified Andrew Groshance that he would have to hear from somebody telling him that he is the attorney on October 18, 2006. Fact 2. Don Sampson requested corporate resolution authorizing a bankruptcy on September 22nd over a month prior. Fact 3. No corporate resolution means Federal Regional Trustee Don Sampson prepared 2 false bankruptcies against Nick Jakich and Golf 255 Inc. Surveillance confirms there was no corporate resolution when Federal Regional Trustee Don Sampson attempted to have Nick sign 25 pages of fake bankruptcy schedules on October 10th. Fact 4. October 27th, the first words out of Don Sampson's mouth are,
I represent Golf 255A.
and there's your introduction to how these feds work. They just make this shit up, and it's so crazy that nobody would ever believe it.
So I'd be, represent the corporation in the, Chris is your attorney.
Right.
Personal attorney. Right, okay, yeah, and I talked to Chris several times.
He's not my divorce lawyer.
And he's not the corporation attorney.
No.
Okay. Follow the rules. With no disclosure of work performed, I let Federal Regional Trustee Don Sampson pitch his best legal strategy to Nick. You'll never believe it.
What kind of the court will do now is, we can file a response. The court can set a hearing date, and then either, we can agree to, be in the involuntary 11 or fight it and say we don't want to be. Those are the, should, proceed with the 11 or not. That's, we can file a, let's just see what.
And most importantly, this is a federal bankruptcy. As a corporation, you have to have an attorney. Nobody ever even attempts to ask Nick Jakich for a corporate authorization for counsel, let alone for bankruptcy. So how did a cocaine dealer authorize Federal Regional Trustee Don Sampson to take over and control Nick Jakich's business in bankruptcy?
I don't know the new Bankruptcy Act.
It didn't change Chapter 11.
We hired they went to a guy that Mike went to a guy.
What an idiot that is.
Highly regarded. He was
his name? Don Sampson.
He was referred to us by other shareholders' lawyer.
Bill Walker's the dumbest son of a bitch I've ever met. Holy shit.
Yeah, he's a fucking retard, man.
Here, with a bunch of people. So, you know, he didn't, you know, he heard with Mike.
What an idiot that is.
They talked about it. Yeah, I mean, that's something we could do.
So where did Federal Regional Trustee Don Sampson come from?
Use him as a patsy if the shit went awry.
I think Bill fucking average bear.
What an idiot that is.
Dumbest son of a bitch I've ever met. Holy shit.
Mike KIELTY. What an idiot that is. I really need to talk to you.
Now, doesn't work for Jay anymore.
I'm gonna burn this motherfucker's ass.
What an idiot that is.
Dumbest son of a bitch I've ever met. Holy shit.
Yeah, he's a fucking retard, man.
I represent Golf 255A.
I'll have to use that. Yeah, but
Holy fuck.
don't, man, it went
That's the word I've already just dropped off.
And that's how a Federal Regional Trustee, working with a cocaine dealer, stole the rights to Golf 255 Inc., an Arlington golf course. On October 27th, Don Sampson declared his own resolution as counsel of Golf 255 Inc.
I represent Golf 255A.
I'm gonna burn this motherfucker's ass. What Mike tells me, your word is gold, and your honor comes first.
That's right.
And I'm the same way. And that's why I wanted to talk to you, because if you don't talk your dad into doing the bankruptcy, I'm gonna have to do what I have to do to Jay. You wanna see a devious motherfucker that's connected? You
I
wanna...
represent Golf 255A.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Following his announcement, my first order of business is to dismiss him. But I don't know the federal system, or even where the courthouse is. And if he declared himself counsel, then he would have to get those documents back from Mike KIELTY.
I'd appreciate it if you'd let me finish saying what I'm saying, Mike. And if you think that my family's going to hand over a chunk of change to you, that you fucking after you fucking rape the fucking place, you're crazy. Now be a gentleman. Hand over the books, let it come out in the wash, and face what you got coming. You're not getting the part of the golf course. This fucking foreclosure thing I have taken care of, but I need those books to have that shit lined up for Thursday. And now all you're doing is dragging your feet. I can see what you're trying to pull, and you're not going to get away with it. Do you understand what I'm telling you? I'll have the books ready for you tomorrow morning. I would like to get copies of them this evening. My accountant is waiting for them. He has been to the course twice today. Please, be a gentleman about this, Mike. Like the agreement we had. We shook hands, we looked each other in the eye, and we made the agreement, right?
Nick Jakich had nothing to hide. We told Don Sampson everything that was going on, except the cocaine and the judge. He still worked for Mike KIELTY. But if he was really counsel for the corporation, he had to investigate the fraud too. I gave him more than enough intel to see what he would do. Federal Trustee Don Sampson did absolutely nothing, and nothing to recover or obtain any documents for Nick Jakich. I'm calling everywhere to get new counsel, and they won't even talk to me until this Federal Trustee Don Sampson gets off as listed counsel. Then, when I tell them how this Federal Trustee just made himself the counsel for Nick Jakich...
Because if you don't talk your dad into doing the bankruptcy, I'm going to have to do what I have to do to Jay. You want to see a devious motherfucker that's connected? You want
I represent Golf 255A.
They say, don't call back. The November 28th meeting, Don Sampson had absolutely no documents recovered. His legal strategy was, don't bring anything on Mike KIELTY. Said he was going to use case law. Well, if that's the law, then we shouldn't be in a court case. So I brought the goods with Mike KIELTY and Chief Federal Bankruptcy Judge Carol A. Doyle. The Supreme Turf Products had never sent a bill. I brought the facts from Supreme Turf. I finally got a bill from him November 17th. Don Sampson had nothing. He says, bring me a copy tomorrow. TNT, there was no debt shown on the books, and Myron Thompson was billing the corporation for work against the company on behalf of the divorcing wife. November 29th, trial date. I go to dismiss Samson and get a new trial date. While locating the courtroom, I'm approached. Are you Jay Dunlap? Yes, why? I'm Craig Smith. Do you need any help? I raise up my handful of documents. This whole bankruptcy is a scam with Mike KIELTY and a federal judge. Craig Smith looks through my surveillance documents. Looking back at me, he says, you can't challenge a federal judge in open court. What else do you have? I gave him the information on Myron Thompson. Somehow, before I knew it, there was no trial. Myron Thompson got knocked off the list, and there was another court date. And now they had this trustee, Robert Eggman, who was going to be sure everything was done properly. In hindsight, they dodged a bullet and doubled down Don Samson with regional trustee Robert Eggman. By adding this whole new set of brains to their operation, in comes federal regional trustee Robert "FUCKYOU" Eggman. He asked Nick to meet with him one time down at the golf course and tried to persuade Nick. Nick told him, can you please get my documents back? In person, at the golf course. Also sent written demand. Still no documents. After the November 28th trial, I was going to be sure to be in the courtroom come January 8th, and not with Don Samson. January 4th, Don Samson had set up a meeting with Nick Jakich at Don Samson's office. I went ahead and brought along an additional attorney, Dennis Devereaux. In front of Dennis Devereaux, Don Samson openly admitted he was conflicted and not able to represent Golf 255 Inc. due to conflict. He told us he was going to file his resignation at the January 8th hearing on Monday. This is Thursday. Look at what his billing says. This is a federal regional trustee hired by a cocaine dealer.
What an idiot that is.
With no corporate resolution. Look at what his billing says on January 4th. Do you see what I'm telling you? These feds just make this shit up. As testified under oath at January 29th at the following meeting, Don Samson was met with Dennis Devereaux. Don Samson was conflicted. Don Samson was to resign. And even after being publicly noticed and dismissed for conflict on January 4th, this federal trustee sends the bankruptcy schedules and matrix unsigned. Remember, that's the right of the debtor. Legal. They're unsigned. That's fraud. He sends those bankruptcy schedules January 5th after being dismissed. At the hearing on January 8th, federal trustee Don Samson is hiding as usual. The judge just starts the court. In pops Samson, and a trial was started. Sounds weird, but you can listen for yourself. I sent my assistant to my car. There was one box of documents in the back seat. Don Samson was worse than you can imagine. Listen to all my recordings. He knows Mike KIELTY is not a shareholder of Golf 255 Inc. The only document this federal trustee prepares for trial is a fake shareholder declaration he wrote up for Mike KIELTY, and then he gives it to federal trustee Laura Grandy to use against him. So Don Samson prepares for trial for Nick Jakich by making a federal document proclaiming Mike KIELTY, the cocaine dealer who has hired him without corporate resolution, making this man a shareholder of a company that he represents as an attorney without corporate resolution. But no matter what paperwork they could muster up, one thing didn't change. The numbers didn't lie. Here comes Craig Smith. Calls bullshit on Mike KIELTY with a $20,000 receipt. the once fearless Skardick retreats, testifying as an officer of the court to a $20,000 case of amnesia. Chief Federal Bankruptcy Judge Laura Grandy, conspiring to commit fraud while withholding the billing time and setting up an alibi in open court.
Were you advised that Golf 255 Inc. was going to file a voluntary petition for bankruptcy?
Yes, I was. On that date in October when I showed up at your office at about 11:30, actually Don Sampson sent me over to your office.
Instructing David Shields to refuse payment. See, David Shields knew he was going to get payment. I told him personally, I will pay him. Laura Grandy filed a wrong petition and violated the state and court rights and remedy. By using the earlier petition time, Laura Grandy claimed the federal court had right over state court remedy, whereas the proper filing was done at a later time. They couldn't even file the right paperwork, but they wanted to make sure that Nick Jakich could not buy that golf course. Hiding billing time used to conspire and commit fraud, then knowingly denying Golf 255 of non-conflicted counsel in open court. Laura Grandy, her creditor, was not paid because KIELTY did not have the funds in the account. He'd given $5,000 to Don Sampson. So Laura Grandy's client could not get paid because Don Sampson took $5,000. And Don Sampson referred Mike KIELTY to Laura Grandy. And Laura Grandy represented Dave Shields, the petitioning creditor, who did not get paid because the cash was not in the account because Don Sampson had taken $5,000. The affidavit reads, prior to September, handwritten in ledger. Faxed at 4:30 in the morning from the Crown Plaza Hotel. Fax copy, no original. A creditor who had been denied payment by Don Sampson taking money, but then strangely enough, after contacting J. Dunlap, refuses to take full payment for the invoice at the direction of Laura Grandy's office, and now refuses to show up in court and testify, with an affidavit clearly been altered in comparison to the actual billing submitted with the affidavit. This is the intelligence level of Laura Grandy. This is what we have to work with.
Were you advised that Golf 255 Inc. was going to file a voluntary petition for bankruptcy?
Yes, I was. On that date in October when I showed up at your office at about 11:30.
Now it takes 3 people having a claim of $11,600, 3 people to testify by law to find you involuntarily bankrupt. How many petitioners did we learn that it takes to file an involuntary bankruptcy against a creditor?
3.
And their claims have to be $10,000 or more, to the best of our knowledge, correct?
Correct.
How many petitioners were in your involuntary bankruptcy filing with claims of $10,000 or more?
3.
How many of those petitioners, came to court on January 9th to witness their claim in front of Judge Myers?
1. Mike KIELTY.
What happened to the other 2 creditors?
They didn't show up. I have no idea.
Justice Gerald Fines, judgment says different.
That guy doesn't know shit from fucking Shiola.
This judge puts everything on Robert Eggman's testimony.
What an idiot that is.
Hey, Robert, I just see if you want to carpool to court tomorrow. Maybe we can discuss that Nebraska deal. And, as well as, I'm going to work that bet. I told you what the outcome's going to be tomorrow, and I think by your recent filings, you guys know what time it is this year. So, once again, another touchdown for the good guys.
The January 8th trial was fixed, just like September 15th, dismissing McCracken, and somehow hiring Federal Trustee Don Sampson. October 4th, constructing an involuntary bankruptcy behind a fake bankruptcy that's already completed. October 12th, faking 4 claims to force an involuntary bankruptcy. October 27th, Federal Trustee Don Sampson proclaiming he is Nick Jakich's corporate counsel. under Scardick's authority. November 28th, the trial is postponed. Mike KIELTY requests the federal trustee Robert Eggman. And here we are at January 8th. All federal trustee Robert Eggman has to do is testify to the judge that these 4 debts are true.
I know that you and Chair are really busy protecting your clients from my fraudulent bankruptcy.
Immediately following the January 8th hearing, Federal Regional Trustee Robert "FUCKYOU" Eggman bans me from the golf course without cause, then fails to pay the insurance, the taxes, or file the quarterly reports.
You know, Jay must be a bigger fucking cunt than I thought he was. I just got a gas filter to grab you. What's this where Sanders pulled up fucking a bunch of shitbag niggers? I'm not fucking paying this shit, dumb fucking piece of shit. Tell her to go fucking some of Mexican crackheads, okay? But I ain't paying that fucking bill. I'm done being fucking nice. Right now, I'm gonna rub your fucking noses in shit until I bleed you fucking dry and you end up getting the teeth fucked in federal fucking prison. You faggot motherfuckers.
After 44 years of business, a federal trustee recommended by another federal trustee.
I represent Golf 255A.
Recommended by
Dumbest son of a bitch I've ever met. Holy shit.
And in cahoots with what an idiot that is. All of them together failing to do any part of a real lawyer's job managed to cause the state to close the business at Arlington. This is an active, operating business. Kathy, our trustee in the bankruptcy case, asked me to find out who paid the liquor liability and workman's comp. He said he got a reinstatement notice in the mail. He didn't pay it and was wondering who did. Ryan Sullivan, General Manager.
Okay, well, I wasn't allowed down there either. In fact, the place was closed. The clubhouse was closed. Everything was closed. So,
being banned from the golf course, having no law degree, I managed to get it back open and filed yet another disregarded complaint. Federal trustee Robert "FUCKYOU" Eggman was too busy constructing a sale contract before the involuntary bankruptcy hearing. The federal trustee that had 4 debts to verify in 3 days failed at all 4 debts and withheld the very information supporting these debts from Nick Jakich prior to trial and after demand was made. All Federal Regional Trustee Robert "FUCKYOU" Eggman had to do was verify 4 items in 3 days. Remember, being elected as a neutral trustee, he would have to at least inform Nick Jakich of his findings and provide the supporting documentation. All of Nick Jakich's documents were stolen by a cocaine dealer.
Dumbest son of a bitch I've ever met. Holy shit.
Who paid another federal regional trustee that doesn't require any corporate resolution to file 2 complete bankruptcies without any supporting documentation. Now, Nick Jakich and his family have made multiple demands and requested to all 3 of the not your amigos to return his documents prior to trial. Again, nobody contacts Nick. Now, at our 341 disclosure hearing, I told Robert Eggman, John Honchek is the signal. Mike KIELTY is noise. John Honchek is the signal. Mike KIELTY is noise. Super lawyer, federal trustee, Robert Eggman thinks he can just jump right in line and go for the $1 million putt, unaware the stolen computer he was given will represent his forensic findings. And 3 days prior to trial, he's had to use a set passcode of FUCKYOU to access these files that are prepared as Nick's business records. Yes, 3 days prior to trial, withholding all documents from Nick Jakich. Robert Eggman wants you to believe he forensically inspected this stolen computer, screen locked to A-Team Mortgage, and corporate books have a passcode of FUCKYOU. Who submits corporate accounting files on a stolen computer during an involuntary bankruptcy petition and sets the passcode to the corporate documents as FUCKYOU?
I know that you and Chair are really busy protecting your clients from my fraudulent bankruptcy.
Robert Eggman, he declares victory with this fuck you box. And he proceeds to wire $2.2 million to the wrong account number. I'm trying to find the light here. Please, tell me how.
Dumbest son of a bitch I've ever met.
And help. Somebody, please help. An idiot and the dumbest motherfucker have hired all 3 federal regional trustees.
Holy shit.
And using one stolen fuck you box have robbed Nick Jakich and his family of 20 years. After multiple notices, challenges, and complaints, Federal Trustee Robert Eggman will wire the $2.2 million to the wrong account number in what is supposed to be the sale transaction of the golf course. Ironically, that same $2.2 million transaction will have the same title agent and same notary who stole Nick's 419 real estate. Yes, claim number 4, Myron Thompson, who made the fake W-2s for the financing on Nick's real estate. Any real federal trustee, neutral trustee, would never deny Nick Jakich his right to counsel. He would never deny Nick Jakich access to his own records and files after multiple demands and prior to trial. 0631728. And the first trustee communication, you would hear about Scardick's bankruptcy pitch.
In a nutshell, Jay Dunlap is the biggest piece of shit I've ever met in my entire life. He's just a cunt. He's a fucking sniggling fucking cunt. No, I can't express how much I hate the guy.
You would know this Andrew Groshans
Now doesn't work for Jay anymore.
I'm gonna burn this motherfucker's ass.
is not the corporate accountant. Simple mathematics shows any federal trustee a $6,000 credit on the Amex. A neutral trustee would ask why other federal trustees are participating in a conspiracy to proclaim Jay Dunlap a narcissist.
And you might think it's funny. Actually, you can't. You don't know what it's like to live anybody else's life. Because you are too pathologically narcissistic to put yourself in anybody else's shoes. All right.
You would find out why Mike KIELTY took $45,000 in extravagant dinners, nightclubs, vodka, all-night leapfrog parties at the Ritz-Carlton. You would find out how Jay Dunlap gets tricked into leaving out of state to be assaulted, resulting in a fractured back and crushed teeth. You connect the dots on the 10-4 Carol A. Doyle with Moe's Cantina on the American Express establishing timeline. But not federal trustee Robert Eggman. Robert Eggman fails miserably at his American Express audit. He refuses to allow Nick Jakich right to counsel while hiding his stolen documents prior to trial. Robert Eggman testifies he has forensically checked the mysterious "fuck you" box. He then refuses to complete any investigation covering up the elderly abuse on John Honchek by the Bank of Edwardsville, Regions Bank, Marsha Hoffmeister, and Carol A. Doyle. Robert Eggman claims federal authority over Nick Jakich and Golf 255 Inc. This fact relies 100% on fellow regional trustee Don Samson being the Golf 255 Inc. corporate attorney. This report and presentation displays clear evidence of Federal Trustee Don Sampson telling co-conspirators he is not the corporate attorney, while dictating to Nick Jakich he is the corporate attorney for Golf 255 Inc.
I represent Golf 255 Inc.
I have pled for right to counsel to the same Judge Gerald Fines in open court, who then further denied right to counsel as recorded in the January 29th minutes and also noted in the appeal filed as seen here. The culmination of this fake bankruptcy is the fake sale, using the same title company and same notary already under investigation for stealing Nick's 419 residential real estate.